Neolithic cultures. Now start with Neolithic cultures. Neolithic cultures. As far as Neolithic cultures are concerned, 7000 BC to 1000 BC, the span. 7000 BC to 1000 BC. The span of Neolithic cultures, the duration of Neolithic cultures in around 7000 BC to 1000 BC. Chalo, mere observation atlaithe, when we observe the so-called span, Paleolithic cultures from earliest to 10,000 BC, right? Mesolithic cultures from 10,000 BC to 5,000 BC, let us have, or 4,000 BC, and it must be from 4,000 BC or 5,000 BC to the kiniki ravali. Enti? Next, Neolithic cultures, but not. So Neolithic cultures, few cultures had been to 7,000 BC. Ante enti? Chronology is not important. Then what? Tool making technology, right? Chalo. So same, artham cheskuntu raskondi. The term called Neolithic, both belong to Greek term. Neo, the English version new, lithic, the English version stone. So Neolithic age or Neolithic cultures otherwise called as New Stone Age cultures. Neolithic cultures otherwise called as New Stone Age cultures. As far as Neolithic cultures are concerned, you should keep in mind two names, two archaeologists' names. One among them was V. Gordon Child, followed by Sir John Lubbock. Sir John Lubbock. So, these two scholars, a British archaeologist, oka book rayadam jarigindi, and he used for the first time the term called Neolithic, and inkoka ayana, he branded Neolithic cultures as Neolithic Revolution. Navina Shilagopu Viplavam antam. Malli enti revolution annappudu. So revolution is nothing but a sudden change antam. Movements, you're going to learn gradually. So movements, protests, revolts, hartal, bandh, everything, including revolution, everything are meant for, they're meant for change. Then how about the difference between movement and revolution? Annappudu, revolution is meant for sudden change. Then how about movements? Movements are meant for gradual change. If you want to witness a sudden change in any sector, that is through revolution. So what factors forced the respective scholars to brand the developments which took place in Neolithic cultures as Neolithic Revolution annappudu? So వాళ్ళు ఏమంటారంటే, in Neolithic cultures we found massive developments. What kind of developments? Radical developments and what do we call revolutionary developments. And ఏంటి మళ్ళీ radical developments అన్నప్పుడు, the people entered in a new phase that can be branded as food gatherers to food production. Food gatherers. For example, మనకు Paleolithic age lo, what is the major profession of people? Hunting and gathering, that is food gatherers antam. Even apply the same towards Mesolithic, they are food gatherers, right? Now come to Neolithic, the people started producing the food. So the evolution from food gatherers to food producers. మరి ఏంటి food producers అన్నప్పుడు agriculture. Because of agriculture, we found massive developments. Earlier, we used to call, be it Paleolithic people and be it Mesolithic people, we used to call them as nomads. మనం తెలుగులో ఏమంటామంటే దేశ దిమ్మర్లు అంటాం, nomads. Nomad का मतलब क्या होता है? What do we call, to whom we call nomads? Going from one place to another place, in search of livelihood, in search of food, in search of fodder. Food for humans, fodder for animals. Nomads we call them. So the people of Paleo, the people of Meso, you call them nomads. Then how about Neolithic people? They were not nomads. Reason being agriculture. The main profession, the major profession happened to be agriculture, and agriculture forced people to settle at one place. Settled life antam. That's the aroma of agriculture. In pastoral economy, you never come across settled life. Whenever you observe villages, అంటే మనకు ఈ గొర్రెల కాపర్లు ఉంటారు లేదా పశువుల కాపర్లు ఉంటారు, షెపర్డ్స్ అంటాం. టు బి స్పెసిఫిక్, యాదవ్స్, రైట్, యాదవ్స్. సో దే మూవ్ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ ప్లేస్ టు అనదర్ ప్లేస్. వాట్ ఫర్ దేర్ ఫాడర్, యానిమల్స్కు ఫాడర్ కావాలి. You never ever come across the agriculture, those who have lands, they never migrate from one place to another place because they have land. Their major profession happen to be agriculture. What I'm trying to tell you, agriculture always gives a settled life. The moment you talk about settled life, we have come across that is emergence of villages antam. The settled life always gives emergence of villages. This is how the gradual village life experienced by the people. Right? Chalo, ఒక చిన్న లైన్ రాసుకో. Godan child, which is on board? Godan child. Godan child, the British archaeologist. Godan child, the British archaeologist and the author of Godan child, the British archaeologist and the author of what happened in history. What happened, sir? Naku kuda telusu, raskondi. The author of what happened in history. It's the name of the book. What happened in history. What happened in history. Inverted commas lo pettukondi. The author of what happened in history used the term called Neolithic. Used the term called Neolithic. I repeat, it's a previous question. Godan child, the British archaeologist and the author of what happened in history, for the first time used the term called Neolithic. Right? One more. Sir John Lubbock, which is on board. Sir John Lubbock, Lubbock. Sir John Lubbock. Sir John Lubbock. Another British archaeologist. Sir John Lubbock, another British archaeologist and the author of prehistoric cultures. And the author of prehistoric cultures. And the author of prehistoric cultures. Observed the developments, and author of prehistoric cultures observed the developments which took place in Neolithic cultures. Observed the developments which took place in Neolithic cultures, and branded these developments as revolution. Branded these developments as revolution. For your convenience, revolution దగ్గరకు వచ్చి narrow mark తీసుకోండి, sudden change అని రాసుకోండి. Branded these developments as revolution. So sudden change. So with this background, have small subheading, that is developments or features. To begin with, self-sufficient mixed economy. Self-sufficient mixed economy. What is a mixed economy? चुप मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी का मतलब क्या होता है? Capitalism plus socialism. Okay, present economy. Okay, generally keeping aside capitalism, socialism, communism, communism. Okay, right. So mixed economy का मतलब general mixed economy ante no ఈ definitions వద్దు. General mixed economy ante can we call various professions? Then you have today's developments. We're talking about prehistoric developments. Prehistoric context lo mixed economy. What does it mean mixed economy ante? Same. Besides agriculture, domestication of animals, besides domestication of animals, hunting and gathering. దీన్ని చాలా పాజిటివ్గా మనం ఏమంటామంటే మిక్స్డ్ ఎకానమీ అంటాం. See, mixed economy ante not like say modern PPP, so public private partnerization. Mixed economy ante enti? If your economic activities are being gathered by various professions, such kind of economies are called as mixed economy. In fact, Indian economy is also mixed economy. Major happen to be agriculture, followed by service sector. We have various like the economies, right? Mixed economy. దాని కింద ఒక చిన్న arrow mark తీసుకోండి. Besides agriculture, the people also relied on domestication of animals. The people also relied on domestication of animals and hunting activities. The people relied on domestication of animals and hunting activities. So దాన్ని చాలా పాజిటివ్గా మనం సెల్ఫ్ సఫిషియంట్ మిక్స్డ్ ఎకానమీ అంటాం. One more line under self-sufficient mixed economy. The prehistoric people entered to the stage from food gatherers to food producers. Right. So it's a major development you call it, that is self-sufficient mixed economy. Now if someone asks a question, mali agriculture was the main profession antunam kada. So mixed economy the first profession happened to be agriculture, followed by domestication of animals, followed by hunting and gathering. Now the question is what kind of methods they followed through which the respective crops cultivated. Chinna line rasko. The early people cultivated crops through a primitive method called slash and burn, which is on board. Slash and burn / shifting cultivation. Slash and burn / shifting cultivation. Slash and burn cultivation, otherwise called as shifting cultivation. / floodplain cultivation, all are same. Floodplain cultivation. మనం తెలుగులో పోడు వ్యవసాయం అంటాం. In North India, we call it zoom cultivation. We have different technical terms, but the same method. Can anyone, including online students, can anyone say what is a slash and burn cultivation or floodplain cultivation or shifting cultivation? పోడు వ్యవసాయం అంటే చెప్పండి. చెట్లను నరికేసి ఓకే, సేమ్, వెరీ గుడ్. సేమ్ సంథింగ్ చెప్పండి. Shifting cultivation, clearing forest areas and cultivating the crops. Okay. Same repeats. History repeats. Once you step in, history repeats and adi kuda cheppu. నువ్వు ఇట్లే క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుక్కున్నావు, నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ రాను అంటే అంటే జనరల్ క్వశ్చన్ అడుగుతున్నా. మనం వినింటాం, చదివింటాం, పోడు వ్యవసాయం అంటాం. ఎస్పెషల్లీ వెన్ ఎవర్ యూ రీడ్ న్యూస్ పేపర్స్, సీఎం లైక్ గేవ్ పట్టాస్ టు పోడు కల్టివేటర్స్. ఏంటి పోడు వ్యవసాయం? ఇది చాలా వెరీ ప్రిమిటివ్ మెథడ్ అంటాం. చలో గుడ్. వన్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ he says why the slash and burn cultivation otherwise called as shifting cultivation అన్నప్పుడు look at the board. అంటే మనకు ఈ స్లాష్ అండ్ బర్న్ కల్టివేషన్లో భాగంగా ఇట్స్ అ వెరీ ప్రిమిటివ్ మెథడ్ త్రూ విచ్ లైక్ సే పీపుల్ కల్టివేటెడ్ క్రాప్స్. ఇన్ స్లాష్ అండ్ బర్న్ కల్టివేషన్, స్లాష్ అండ్ బర్న్ కల్టివేషన్, రైట్? సో ఇన్ దీస్ పీపుల్ వుడ్ సెలెక్ట్ అ ప్లాట్. సో ఈ ప్లాట్లో ఏవైతే మనకు చెట్లు ఉన్నాయో, లైక్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ట్రీస్ అండ్ అదర్ స్టఫ్ యూ కమ్ అక్రాస్ ఇన్ ద ప్లాట్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ టు బి క్లియర్డ్ అప్. స్లాష్ నరకడం, స్లాష్, ఎస్పెషల్లీ బాలయ్యబాబు సినిమాలో స్లాష్ అంటాం. సో వన్స్ యూ కట్ డౌన్ ఆల్ ద ట్రీస్ అండ్ బర్న్ ఆల్ ద ట్రీస్, స్లాష్ అండ్ బర్న్. సో వన్స్ యూ బర్న్ ద ట్రీస్, వాట్ యూ కమ్ అక్రాస్? యూ కమ్ అక్రాస్ యాష్. యాష్ ఇక్కడే ఉంటుంది. సో డ్యూరింగ్ రైనీ సీజన్ the flood waters would be allowed to inundate the entire plot. దానికి అందువల్ల మనం ఏమంటామంటే ఫ్లడ్ ప్లెయిన్స్ అంటాం, లేదా ఫ్లడ్ ప్లెయిన్ కల్టివేషన్ అంటాం. సో వన్స్ ద వాటర్ వుడ్ బి inundated, you come across nutrients, right? So once water recedes, once the floods like say gets down, the people go and scatter the wild variety of seeds. Not an organized way of sowing the seeds. No, simply they scatter the seeds. After maybe 3 months or 6 months, whatever the duration you call it, or 8 months, 9 months, the people just go and collect the crops. Right? Once you collect the crops, you'll be abandon this particular plot and they would shift to another plot. Same, cut, copy and paste. It goes on. That is the reason we call it shifting cultivation. Because you're abandoning a plant, shifting to another plant, after that it goes on. Shifting cultivation. No canal irrigation, no well irrigation, no tank irrigation. Then what? Floodplains. Or rain flood cultivation you also call it. Floodplain cultivation, slash and burn cultivation, or shifting cultivation. This is a primitive method. The same stuff you are going to learn as part of Indus Valley civilization. Even the people of Indus Valley also got involved in the same method of cultivation. Then a primitive method of cultivation. Let me tell you, today the modern governments abandon shifting cultivation. Why so? That's an answer. Because shifting cultivation leads to deforestation. And deforestation has so many ugly consequences, right? So modern governments banned shifting cultivation. Then you can pose me, as you said, even today you come across this podu and all that. Only few areas where we found podu cultivation, especially like say tribal hamlets, tribal areas level కొన్ని కేవలం కొన్ని సందర్భాల్లో మాత్రమే అలో చేస్తారు. That is the reason whenever you read newspapers, always you come across conflicts between tribals and forest officers. Because tribals get involved in podu cultivation or shifting cultivation, which is banned by the government. So conflicts and all, right? It's all about. Next, another major development that can be discussed under Neolithic cultures. To begin with, emergence of village communities. Emergence of village communities. Emergence of village communities. So దాని కింద 1 or 2 facts రాసుకో. Unlike previous cultures, the Neolithic people, got settled. The Neolithic people got settled at one place. The Neolithic people got settled at one place, oblique places. one place, oblique places. Because of, can anyone? Because of, very good, because of agriculture. Because of agriculture. Remember the refrigeration, agriculture always forces people to stay at one place. This is nothing but emergence of village settlements. Right, emergence of village settlements or village communities. One more. The prevalence of wheel-made pottery. The prevalence of wheel-made pottery. కుమ్మరి చక్రంతో తయారు చేసిన కుండలు అంటాం. The prevalence of wheel-made pottery. ఒక చిన్న స్టేట్మెంట్ రాసుకోండి. స్టార్ట్ విత్ కామాస్. ద స్టేట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ గోడాన్ చైల్డ్. ద స్టేట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ గోడాన్ చైల్డ్. The invention of wheel. The invention of wheel. The invention of wheel. In this period. The invention of wheel in this period brought substantial changes. The invention of wheel in this period brought substantial changes. Substantial changes in the evolution of human history. Substantial changes in the evolution of human history. I repeat, the invention of wheel in this period brought substantial changes in the evolution of human history. Noted commas close, write down. So the statement made by Godan Child, the author of What Happened in History, and the same gentleman used a term called Neolithic, and little later Sajjan Lubbock branded the developments which took place in Neolithic cultures as Neolithic Revolution. Godan Child. The statement made by Godan Child. So that's an aroma of wheel-made pottery. If someone asks a question, how wheel brought revolutionary changes? Can anyone? Already pottery undi ga sir. Mesolithic cultures lo already pottery undi. Because of pottery, or to be specific, handmade pottery, we found settlements started moving away from river valleys. One of the the progressive elements and raskunam malikada. How the wheel brought revolutionary change in the very human history. Transportation, very good. Transportation. Malenti transportation annappudu. See, the moment you talk about agriculture, though it's in primitive agriculture, you started taking agricultural implements to the field and whatever the stuff which you grow or cultivated the crops, bringing back to villages. Bullock carts. Idula ballu antam, right? Besides, the same wheel-made pottery, ante kummari chakram antam, wheel-made pottery brought speedy developments in production. For example, in order to make a pot with hand, it takes a lot of time. The same pot can be made with wheel in minutes. అంటే ఏంటి, ప్రొడక్షన్ ప్రాసెస్ అనేది స్పీడ్గా కావడం జరిగింది. దట్స్ వాట్ గుడాన్ చైల్డ్ సేస్, రైట్? చలో, another development, the emergence of religious beliefs. The emergence of religious beliefs. The emergence of religious beliefs. కొన్ని ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ రాసుకోండి. వాట్ ఆర్ ది ఎమర్జెన్స్ ఆఫ్ రిలీజియస్ బిలీఫ్స్? కొన్ని ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ రాసుకోండి. To begin with, terracotta figurines. Terracotta, T-E-R-R-A-C-O-T-A, terracotta figurines discovered at Meherghar, Koldiva, etc. Terracotta figurines discovered at Meherghar, Koldiva, etc. For your convenience, terracotta figurines దగ్గర ఒక చిన్న arrow mark తీసుకోండి. Mother goddess, terracotta, it's the name of the clay. Mother goddess, అమ్మ తల్లి విగ్రహం అంటాం. Mother goddess, terracotta figurine, mother goddess. One more, snake cult. Snake cult, పామును పూజించే ఒక సింబల్, స్నేక్ కల్ట్, టెర్రకోటా. ఫలస్ వర్షిప్, PHULLUS, ఫలస్ వర్షిప్. ఫలస్ వర్షిప్ ఫర్ యువర్ కన్వీనియన్స్, మేల్ సెక్స్ ఆర్గాన్ అని రాసుకోండి. We found the worship of sex organs, male sex organ. And one more example, trephination, which is on board, trephination. Can you know what is meant by trephination? I might have instructed you people to attend the class with prior preparation. Trephination का मतलब क्या होता है? Even today we follow this trephination. Trephination అనే ఐడియా ఉండకపోవచ్చు, కానీ ఈ మెథడ్ అనేది ఐడియా ఉండొచ్చు చాలా. ట్రెఫినేషన్, చలో, ట్రెఫినేషన్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ అ ప్రిమిటివ్ మెథడ్ త్రూ విచ్ డిసీజెస్ వర్ క్యూర్డ్ అంటాం. ఏంటి ట్రెఫినేషన్ అన్నప్పుడు, ఒక మెటల్ ఉంటుంది, రైట్? మెటల్, మేబీ గోల్డ్, మ్యాక్సిమం గోల్డ్, on few occasions iron, on few occasions. So ఈ గోల్డ్ ఏదైతే బాగా హీట్ చేస్తారు, లైక్ the gold would be heated and it would be applied on skin. దాన్ని మనం ట్రెఫినేషన్ అంటాం. For example, to make you understand, so in villages even today the practices are being continued. చాలా మందికి ఐడియా ఉండొచ్చు, జాండీస్ అంటాం, మన తెలుగులో పచ్చ కామర్లు అంటాం, రైట్? అలా వచ్చినప్పుడు అంటే ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు రెడ్యూస్ ద జాండీస్, సో ద విలేజర్స్ గో ఫర్ ట్రెఫినేషన్. బాగా కాల్చి వాతలు పెడతారు అన్నమాట, రైట్? చాలామందికి ఐడియా ఉండొచ్చు, కొంతమంది పెట్టిండొచ్చు, రైట్? పాప నవ్వుతమైంది, నాకు 2-3 పెట్టాడు సార్, ఓకే, నాకు కూడా పెట్టాలి, ఓకే, జనరల్ చెప్తాను, రైట్? చలో, ఒక చిన్న లైన్, ట్రెఫినేషన్ దగ్గర ఒక చిన్న లైన్ రాసుకోండి. ద ప్రిమిటివ్ మెథడ్, the primitive method through which the primitive method through which the early diseases were cured. The early diseases were cured. The early diseases were cured. So these are all the tools of Neolithic cultures. When you observe the tools of Paleolithic cultures, rude and primitive, the tools of Mesolithic cultures, smaller in size, sharper in nature, and the tools of Neolithic cultures, very polished one. Though they were a little bit bigger, but polished, and on one hand smaller in size, sharp in nature, besides they were polished in nature. Chalo, so with this background, write down have small subheading, that is Neolithic tools. Once we're done with Neolithic tools, we'll go for important settlements. The people used in making stone tools, with different stones, ఈ different stones దగ్గర ఒక నేరో మార్క్ తీసుకోండి. besides chert, jasper and kivika stones were also used. Kivika stones were also used. Continuation. These tools, they were smaller in size, They were smaller in size, comma, sharp in nature. They were smaller in size, sharp in nature, and extremely polished in character. And extremely polished in character. Next point. In 1842, Dr. Primrose, a British archaeologist. In 1842, Dr. Primrose, the British archaeologist, discovered the Neolithic tools. At Lingsugur, which is on board. At Lingsugur, which comes in Karnataka. Lingsugur. Lingsugur. Lingsugur, which comes in Karnataka. మనం ఇందాక రాసుకున్నాము Neolithic tools discovered by Dr. Carlyle, Vindhya region, whereas Neolithic tools discovered by Dr. Primrose at a place called Lingsugur, which comes in Karnataka. Right? Now, with this background, have small subheading, that is important sites. So, agricultural practices. The primitive agricultural practices were made through a method called slash and burn, otherwise called as shifting cultivation, otherwise called as floodplain cultivation. Start with important sites. Important sites, even in some text also come across geographical spread. Both are same. Geographical spread. A little bit time to be spent as far as important sites of Neolithic cultures are concerned, because we found northwestern India, Dani manamu Bolan Valley antam, northwestern India, Pakistan, Bolan Valley, followed by North India, we have Belan Valley, we have Gangetic Valley, followed by Deccan and South India. Besides Deccan and South India, even we also found Neolithic settlements in northeastern states, right? Chalo, oka chinna line raskondi. The Neolithic cultures had spread. The Neolithic cultures had spread throughout the length and width of Indian subcontinent. They vary, Neolithic settlements, they vary from time to time, and region to region. So with this background, for exam point of view, start with NWI, Northwestern India. Oblique Bolan Valley. NWI, Northwestern India. Bolan Valley, Pakistan. So write down important sites under Northwestern India or Bolan Valley located in Pakistan today. To begin with, Meherghar, which is on board. Meherghar. One or two archaeological findings, factual information, Meherghar. The oldest Neolithic site in Indian subcontinent. One more fact. The practice of agriculture dated back to 7000 BC. The practice of agriculture dated back to 7000 BC. మరి అగ్రికల్చర్ కింద వచ్చి నేరో మార్క్ తీసుకోండి. The people cultivated wheat and barley. Wheat and barley. The people cultivated wheat and barley. ఒక చిన్న హైఫన్ తీసుకోండి. 7000 BC. Wheat and barley 7000 BC. Cotton 5000 BC. Cotton 5000 BC. Wheat and barley 7000 BC. Cotton 5000 BC. So I repeat the significance of what we call Meherghar, one of the oldest and one of the big sites of Neolithic cultures in Indian subcontinent. Enduku Indian subcontinent ane padani use chestunamante, today we won't call Indian subcontinent, today we call it Indian Union, because Pakistan got separated on one hand, on the other hand East Bengal, otherwise called as Bangladesh, also got separated, and even like say we have Bhutan, Myanmar, Burma, whatever you call it. So once the part and parcel of Indian subcontinent, right? Mali ippudu Indian subcontinent anam. So the moment you talk about Pakistan sides, is you can use the term called Indian subcontinent. It is not in the case of within Indian Union. So the significance of Meherghar people, the people of Meherghar cultivated wheat and barley. So wheat and barley dates can be can be referred to 7000 BC. When it comes to cotton, belonged to 5000 BC. ఇంకొక చిన్న ఫ్యాక్చువల్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ రాసుకోండి. మెహర్ఘర్ దగ్గర they were the earliest people in the world. The people of Meherghar, they were the earliest people in the world to cultivate such kind of crops. They were the earliest people in the world to cultivate such kind of crops. Right, it's all about Meherghar, one of the famous sites of Neolithic cultures. Besides Meherghar, we have Shabhaspur, which is on board. Shabhaspur. One more, Sarai Kohla. Sarai Kohla. సో ఈ టూ సైడ్స్కి ఒక బ్రాకెట్ తీసుకోండి. వీల్ మేడ్ పాటరీ డిస్కవర్డ్ అని రాసుకోండి. వీల్ మేడ్ పాటరీ డిస్కవర్డ్. వీల్ మేడ్ పాటరీ డిస్కవర్డ్. Right, it's all about northwestern India, Bolan Valley. Now come to North India. Come to North India. So North India lo bhanga start with Bolan Valley, right? North India, Bolan Valley. Bolan Valley, for your convenience, UP, Uttar Pradesh. Bolan Valley. So Bolan Valley దగ్గర important sites to begin with, Koldhiva, which is on board. Koldhiva, one or two archaeological findings from Koldhiva. They were the earliest people to cultivate paddy in the world. They were the earliest people. They were the earliest people to cultivate paddy in the world. Earliest people to cultivate paddy in the world. Next, the polished stone tools discovered. Another archaeological finding from Koldhiva. The polished stone tools discovered. One more. The settled settlements also discovered some sort of village communities. The settled settlements also discovered. Right, we're discussing important sites under the tag called North India or Indian Union. We have started with Belan Valley, UP, Uttar Pradesh. The major happened to be Koldiva. Have subheading Himalayan Valley. Right? Himalayan Valley or Kashmir. Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh today. Himalayan Valley. Antam. One or two important sites. Himalayan Valley, Kashmir. Burjaham, which is on board. Burjaham. Which comes in Kashmir. Burjaham. The English version of the local terminology Burjaham, the place of birth antam. Burjaham, the place of birth. Malanti significance of Burjaham, the archaeological findings annappudu. One or two factual information raskondi. Pit dwellings discovered. Pit dwellings. So, what is meant by pit dwellings? Small houses or pit. Pit का मतलब क्या होता है? गुंता, गोई. Okay, pit dwellings. Dwell का मतलब some sort of structure. అంటే ఏంటి? వీళ్ళు గుంతలు తీసి ఇళ్ళని కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేశారు. So let us understand in this way. The people of Burjaham constructed houses not on the earth but inside the earth. The question is, what forced the people of Burjaham to do so? Any wild guess? Chapman. To protect themselves from animals. It's all about the harsh climate made or forced people to go for such kind of houses. So pit dwellings కింద చిన్న arrow mark తీసుకో. The people constructed houses. The people constructed houses. The people constructed houses not on the earth. The people constructed houses not on the earth but inside the earth. But inside the earth. Not on the earth but inside the earth. The scholars opine that the harsh climatic conditions, the scholars opine that the harsh climatic conditions force them to do this. Pit dwellings antam. In fact, Kashmir climate is very harsh. And another archaeological finding from Burjaham, which means the place of birth besides pit dwelling, the practice of trephination and rasko. The practice of trephination. వాతలు పెట్టడం అంటాం. ఇది కూడా రాసుకోవాలా సార్? అవసరం లేదు. The practice of trephination అంటాం. Another important site from Himalayan Valley, Kashmir, Gufkral, which is on board. Gufkral. What is the English version of Burjaham? The place of the birth. The English version of Gufkral, the cave of the potters. The cave of the potters. The cave of the potters. So write down two archaeological findings from Gufkral, the cave of the potters. Once again, it comes in Srinagar, Kashmir. The wheel-made pottery. The wheel-made pottery. One more archaeological finding besides wheel-made pottery. The practice of trephination. The practice of trephination. It's all about Gufkral. So once again, North India, that is Gangetic Valley. We're discussing important sites of Neolithic cultures in North India. We've started with Belan Valley, UP, Himalayan Valley, Kashmir, Gangetic Valley, which is hyphen తీసుకోండి, Bihar. Gangetic Valley, Bihar. To begin with, Chirand, which is on board. The important sites under Gangetic Valley are Bihar, Chirand. One or two archaeological findings from Chirand. The largest number of bone tools. The largest number of bone tools, including bone needles. The largest number of bone tools, including bone needles, discovered. Bone needles discovered. So whenever you come across bone needles, and keeping aside bone needles, needles indicate, what does that needles indicate? Stitching. Very good. కొంచెం జనరల్గా అర్థం చేసుకోండి. అంటే ఏంటి, some sort of textile industries might have say emerged. మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం, the people were associated with primitive agriculture. ఒక దగ్గర కాటన్ని వీళ్ళు ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేశారు, వీట్ అండ్ బార్లీని ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేశారు, కొన్ని చోట్ల ప్యాడీని కల్టివేట్ చేశారు. అంటే ఏంటి, దే న్యూ ద ఆర్ట్ ఆఫ్ వీవింగ్. దే న్యూ ద ఆర్ట్ ఆఫ్ వీవింగ్. They knew the art of weaving it, because we found bone needles, and we also found some sort of what we call textiles, the primitive textile center. Right, it's all about Chirand. And one more, a terracotta snake from same Chirand, a terracotta snake. The image of snake made of terracotta clay, terracotta snake అంటాం. అంటే పామును పూజించే ఆచారం ఇప్పుడు కూడా పూజిస్తాం. పూజిస్తామా పూజించమా? పూజిస్తాంగా. వాట్స్ ద నేమ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫెస్టివల్? నాగుల చవితి. ఆ నాగుల పంచమి. సో నాగరాజ్ సార్కి పాలు పోస్తాడు. నాగరాజ్ సార్ పాలు తాగుతాడా? పాలు కాఫీ టీలు తాగుతాడని పాలు తాగడం తెలుసు. పాము పాలు తాగుతుందా? ఏదో చెప్పండి, తాగుతుందా తాగదా? డ్రింకు ఆర్ నాట్ డ్రింకు? నాట్ డ్రింకు. Why is not drink? That's it, right? If not drink, why you are poor? Because everyone pours, we also pour. That's the aroma of religion. Science, right? Science says snake is an anti-milk. అసలు మిల్కే తాగదు. మనం మాత్రం హెరిటేజ్ ప్యాకెట్ పోతాం. చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు పైన క్లియర్ కదా, అందుకని హెరిటేజ్ ప్యాకెట్. అట్లా చెప్పమాకు సార్, అసలే నాయుడు సారు ఫ్రీ టికెట్లు ఇస్తున్నారు. అదే అనమాట, అంతరించిపోతున్న కళను తీసుకొస్తున్నాను. ఏ కళ సార్? తెలుస్తుంది, 2 daysలో తెలుస్తుంది. 15th నుంచి ఒక కళ వస్తుంది అనమాట. ఓకే చలో, ఇట్స్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ Gangetic Belt. నెక్స్ట్ స్టార్ట్ విత్ సౌత్ ఇండియా. Or you call it Deccan and South India, you call it Deccan and South India. Deccan and South India. Have subheading Deccan and South India. So చిన్న లైన్ రాసుకోండి, Deccan and South India. The Neolithic cultures in Deccan and South India. The Neolithic cultures in Deccan and South India. The Neolithic cultures in Deccan and South India flourished between 2500 BC to 1000 BC. 2500 BC to 1000 BC. 2500 BC to 1000 BC. Look at the board. So in Indian subcontinent, 7000 BC, and by the time you go to what we call North India, 5000 BC, come down to Deccan and South India between 2500 BC to 1000 BC, and even you go to northeastern India, modern Assam and other northeastern India, that is 1000 BC. Andukane manam Neolithic culture, the span of Neolithic culture is 7000 BC to 1000 BC and right? Now, with these backgrounds, have small separating Karnataka. First, we'll start Karnataka, followed by Telugu speaking states, followed by Sambar. Tamil Nadu. Start with Karnataka. To begin with, Sangana Kallu. Sangana Kallur. One or two facts related to Sangana Kallu, that is, మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం, Ballari district, right? Ballari district of Karnataka state. One or two facts. The beads and gold bracelets, the beads, పూసలు అంటాం తెలుగు, the beads and gold bracelets, the beads and gold bracelets discovered. One more. The necklace made of beads and gold also found. The necklace made of beads, పూసలు అంటాం తెలుగులో, beads and gold also found. So look at about the significance of Neolithic cultures of Deccan and South India. To be specific, Karnataka, the Karnataka sites are important for Karnataka Neolithic sites are important because the only region which produced or which exported to other cultures or other civilizations gold. And in order to tell you, few might have watched a movie called KGF, Kolar Goldfield. So Neolithic cultures exported gold to other cultures. What are the cultures we found throughout Indian subcontinent? The same Neolithic cultures also exported gold to Indus Valley civilization. We never come across bracelets, nor we come across like say necklaces made of beads and gold. Other like maybe the Bolan Valley gavachu, Belan Valley, like Himalayan Valley, Gangetic Valley, whatever valley, including your Musi Valley. Nowhere you come across gold. Only in Karnataka, because Karnataka is known for gold fields. Kolar gold fields, right? Right, it's all about Sangana Kallu. One more, Brahmagiri, once again from Karnataka. Brahmagiri. Tekkala Kota, one more, Tekkala Kota. Halluru. Tekkala Kota, Halluru. So Brahmagiri, Tekkala Kota, Halluru, ఈ 3 sites కు ఒక bracket తీసుకుంది. Write down archaeological findings from these 3 sites. Bone tools. Next, copper fish hook. Next, the ornaments made of beads and gold. And wheel-made pottery. సో ఒక చిన్న బాక్స్లో యూజ్ ఆఫ్ మెటల్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా అని రాసుకోండి. యూజ్ ఆఫ్ మెటల్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా. So start with gold. In and around gold hyphen Neolithic people and రాసుకో. Neolithic people. Copper by Chalcolithic people. Chalcolithic people. Bronze, Harappans / Indus people. Harappans / Indus people. And iron, Aryans. Aryans. So the first metal to be used in India happened to be gold by Neolithic people, followed by copper, Chalcolithic people, followed by bronze, Harappans in and around 2500 BC, and iron in and around 1000 BC by Aryans, otherwise called as Vedic people, right? So with this background, write down the first statement, previous question. మనం అంటే ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్, ఈ క్వశ్చన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేసాం, ఈ 3 ఇంపార్టెంట్ సైట్స్ ఆఫ్ కర్ణాటక Neolithic cultures, దట్ ఈస్ టెక్కలకోట, బ్రహ్మగిరి అండ్ హాలూరు. అక్కడ మనం ఒక కాపర్ ఫిష్ హుక్ అనేది రాసుకున్నాం, రైట్? సో ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ నుంచి క్వశ్చన్ ఫ్రేమ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. రైట్ ఆన్ ద ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్, ప్రీవియస్ క్వశ్చన్. ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్, the Neolithic people of South India, the Neolithic people of South India, the Neolithic people of South India were the earliest to use, the Neolithic people of South India were earliest to use copper. Second statement, the copper fish hook, the second statement, the copper fish hook discovered, the copper fish hook discovered at the various sites of Karnataka. The copper fish hook discovered at various sites of Karnataka. Same traditional options. Option A, only 1 correct. Option B, only 2 correct. Option C, both the statements are correct. And option D, neither 1 correct nor 2. So read the 2 statements carefully and answer. So how many says option is right answer? Only 1. Only 1. How many says option B is right answer? Only 2. Second statement alone correct. Second statement alone correct. And option C, both the statements are correct. Option C, both the statements are correct. And option D, neither 1 correct nor 2. Then cheta nenatan sir. Nu chepto cheppu nenu. ఎత్తితే చెప్తావు, ఎత్తకపోయినా ఎందుకు అవసరమా? గుడ్. చలో, రైట్ ఆన్సర్ ఫర్ దిస్ క్వశ్చన్ ఆప్షన్ బి, సెకండ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ అలోన్ కరెక్ట్, ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఈస్ ఇన్కరెక్ట్. వాట్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్? ఎస్, మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం, copper was used for the first time by Chalcolithic people. Then you can counter me. Then how did the copper tools or copper fish hook discover in the various sites of Karnataka annappudu? Let us understand in this way, because they were contemporaries in nature. Who are contemporaries? Neolithic people and Chalcolithic people. Even Chalcolithic people and Indus people were contemporaries. Indus people and Neolithic people were contemporaries. The earliest metal used by Neolithic people, that was gold. Then how about Chalcolithic people? Copper, Harappans, bronze, Aryans, iron. It does not mean, so Chalcolithic people never used gold. Chalcolithic people also used gold. But earliest metal annappudu gold vachesi Neolithic people, copper vachesi Chalcolithic people antam. Right? For example, మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం, say Karnataka is known for gold mines. Now when you go to Rajasthan is known for copper mines. Chalcolithic cultures lo bhanga raskuntam, right? Chalo, it's all about Karnataka. Next, have subheading, that is Telugu speaking states and raskondi. Telugu speaking states. Go to Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, Telangana, right? Telugu speaking states. To begin with, Utnuru. ఉట్నూర్ ఆర్ ఉట్నూరు, చిన్న హైఫన్ తీసుకో. అనంతపూర్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్. పాలావాయ్ పాలావాయ్. వన్స్ అగైన్ అనంతపూర్, పాలావాయ్. రేణిగుంట, the erstwhile చిత్తూరు డిస్ట్రిక్ట్. రేణిగుంట, the erstwhile చిత్తూరు డిస్ట్రిక్ట్. నాగార్జున కొండ, 50% కొండ belong to Telangana state, remaining కొండ belong to Andhra Pradesh state. Right. So ఈ 4 major sites of Telugu speaking states కు ఒక bracket తీసుకోండి. Write on the important archaeological findings to begin with. The large scale bone tools, ఎముకలతో చేసిన పనిముట్లు, the large scale bone tools. One more, the polished stone tools, One more, wheel-made pottery. One more, the bracelets made of beads, etc. The bracelets made of beads. Right, we're discussing important sites of Neolithic cultures. We have started with Karnataka, followed by Telugu speaking states, and have subheading that is Tamil Nadu. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, the important sites of Neolithic cultures in Tamil Nadu, to begin with, Piyampalli. Piklihal. So Piyampalli and Piklihal have arrow mark. Read on the important archaeological findings. The village settlements. One more, the large scale ash mounds. మనం తెలుగులో బూడిద కుప్పలు అంటాం. The large scale ash mounds discovered. Chalo, what does that mean by ash mounds? బూడిద కుప్పలు అంటే, even whenever you go to villages, అంటే village background ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి ఐడియా ఉండొచ్చు. చెప్పండి. They used for cooking. లార్జ్ స్కేల్ యాష్ మౌంట్స్ అన్నప్పుడు ఈ కౌ డంగ్ ఏదైతే ఉంటుందో, కౌ డంగ్ను జనరల్గా కౌ డంగ్ వుడ్ బి సే పోస్ట్ అ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ అ బిగ్ హీప్, రైట్? మనం తెలుగులో ఏమంటామంటే దిబ్బలు అంటాం. సో ఎలివేటెడ్ పొజిషన్, సో దట్ విల్ బి బర్న్. అండ్ ఇఫ్ యూ బర్న్ కౌ డంగ్, ఇట్ బికమ్స్ యాష్. దాన్ని మనం ఏంటంటే యాష్ మౌండ్స్ అంటాం. So that ash mounds be used for agricultural manure. Organic you call it. Today everyone started speaking about organic. This is the organic. Away from the pesticides. There is an always connection between nature and animals. A connection between nature and agriculture. For example, whenever you observe in agricultural activities, you never come across agricultural activities without snakes. మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేసాం. సో why did people worship snakes? What are the reasons? Keep aside. ఇక్కడ మనం చాలా జనరల్గా రేషనల్గా అబ్జర్వ్ చేసినట్లయితే, the agriculturalists are the people who are associated with natural way of living. They generally worship snakes. Chalo, let me pose the question, why do agriculturalists worship snakes? Why farmers worship snakes? don't say Nagadevata and all. No, keep aside for religion for some time. Right? Because the major reason the farmers worship snakes. What was the reason, right? Very good, Nana. Because snakes eat rats. Rats spoil the crops. Since snakes started protecting the crops of farmers, it's a kind of gratitude towards snakes. Human nature. దాన్ని పక్కన పెట్టి పాల ప్యాకెట్లు పోతాం. Have some sort of respect because it is protecting your livelihood. Fantastic. A gratitude అనేది ఉండాలి. Today no rats, better not to talk about snakes. Haiku sir, because you started using the so-called pesticides, rats rammante kuda ravu. Right? Nattalu, vanapamulu, generally, observe real. Everything plays crucial role in agricultural activities. The earthworms antam, they give some sort of nutrients to agriculture, right? Everything gone. Thanks to the new technology. Kurulaman chestadu, akada pani cheyadu, ayan taagutadu, pani chestadu. First, right? Unfortunately, observe cheyali. Chalo. So, ash mounds annappudu, let us understand in this way, the people of Neolithic cultures belong to Tamil Nadu. They might have followed two major professions besides agriculture, domestication of animals, right? Because the moment you talk about domestication of animals, then only you come across cow dung. And cow dung further used for agriculture, right? Anduvalane manam oka padani use chesam developments lo bhaganga self-sufficient mixed economy, right? So these are the important sites of Deccan and South Indian, and all have small subheading, that is Northeast. The important sites of Neolithic cultures under Northeastern states. To begin with, Garo Hills. Garo, Jayantiya, Khasi, Garo Hills. Chennai iskon between Assam and Meghalaya. Between Assam and Meghalaya, Garo Hills. So between Meghalaya and Assam, at least like half a dozen sites belong to Neolithic cultures discovered, like the found, right on not to. To begin with, Meherland. Meherland. One more. Darojali. Darojali. One more. Namchik. Namchik. So, ఈ three important sites of Northeast, ఒక చిన్న లైన్ రాసుకోండి. The evidence of agricultural practices. The evidence of agricultural practices. One more. Wheel-made pottery. Wheel-made pottery. And the practice of trephination. The practice of trephination. So, evidence of agricultural practices దగ్గర ఒక చిన్న arrow mark తీసుకోండి. The Neolithic cultures of Northeast. Evidence of agriculture దగ్గర ఒక చిన్న arrow mark తీసుకోండి. The Neolithic cultures of Northeast. The Neolithic cultures of Northeast got involved in agricultural activities. The Neolithic cultures of Northeast got involved in agricultural activities in and around 1000 BC. In and around 1000 BC. So look at the board. So when we understand ద హిస్టరీ ఆఫ్ అగ్రికల్చర్ కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం చేసుకోండి. ఓన్లీ హిస్టరీ ఆఫ్ అగ్రికల్చర్, డోంట్ టాక్ అబౌట్ అదర్ డెవలప్మెంట్స్, ఓన్లీ హిస్టరీ ఆఫ్ అగ్రికల్చర్ ఇన్ ఇండియన్ సబ్ కాంటినెంట్ అరౌండ్ 7000 BC. You call it Bolan Valley, Mehergarh, మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం, wheat, barley, cotton and all. So the history of agriculture in northwestern India dated back to 7000 BC. Now come to North India. North India dated back to 5000 BC. Now go to northeastern India dated back to 1000 BC. Then how about in Deccan and South India, like in around 2500, ikkada ee range lo vastadu annamata. Let me pose a question, why the variation as far as agricultural activities are concerned? Why we found 7000 BC in northwestern India? By the time you go to North India 5000 and northeastern India 1000. Why this variation, including online students? What was the reason? Any wild guess from your side? So for your convenience, you can history of agriculture and raskoni, variations raskoni. History of agriculture. Northwestern India 7000 BC. Northwestern India 7000 BC. North India 5000 BC. And Northeast 1000 BC. చలో వేరియేషన్ ఎందుకు? కొంచెం ఆలోచించాలి. A little bit common sense required. Where? Plain areas. Where? River valleys. ఎక్కడ? నార్త్ ఈస్టా, నార్త్ వెస్టా, లేకుంటే నార్తా? ఎక్కడ ప్లెయిన్ వ్యాలీస్? నార్త్ ఇండియాలో ప్లెయిన్ వ్యాలీస్, ప్లెయిన్ ల్యాండ్స్. ఓకే, ఇంకా చెప్పండి. So because of sharing of knowledge, agriculture knowledge. Okay, 7000. So the people of northwestern India got involved in agricultural activities. Gradually, the knowledge got shared to the people of North India and little later shared to the people of northeastern India. Ammo, logic. Okay, చెప్పండి. రివర్ రిసోర్సెస్ నార్త్ సైడ్ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నాయి. అవునా? దెన్ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ద కేస్ రివర్ రిసోర్సెస్ మనకు నార్త్ ఈస్ట్లో ఎక్కువ ఉంటాయి కదా. మసిన్ రామ్, చిరపుంజి. నేను తిడుతున్నావా సార్? లేదు, ద హైయెస్ట్ రిసీవర్ రెయిన్ఫాల్, రైట్? మసిన్ రామ్, చిరపుంజి, రైట్? ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ద కేస్, లైక్ the people would have started agriculture in northeast. కానీ ఇక్కడ రివర్స్లో ఉందన్నమాట. నార్త్ వెస్టర్న్ ఇండియా 7000, నార్త్ ఇండియా 5000, నార్త్ ఈస్ట్ 1000. కొంచెం ఆలోచించాలి. వస్తుంది. మినరల్స్, రైట్? చలో, వెరీ జనరల్ రీజన్. In northeastern India, the agricultural practices dated back to 1000 BC. Annappudu, the credit goes to highest rainfall. Because when you have highest rainfall, right, what happens to your land? Your land would become a dense forest. And if you want to involve in agricultural activities, in the very first instance, you have to clear your forest. రైట్? మళ్ళీ ఫారెస్ట్ని క్లియర్ చేయాలంటే భయంకరమైన మెటల్స్ కావాలి. ఇక్కడ మెటల్సే లేవు. దెన్ యూ కెన్ కౌంటర్ మీ. దెన్ హౌ అబౌట్ గోల్డ్? సి, విత్ గోల్డ్ యూ కాంట్ కట్ ద ట్రీస్, రైట్? We have stone tools. We were discussing, in fact, Stone Age cultures, Paleo, Meso and Neo, Stone Age cultures. Yes, by the time you go to Chalcolithic cultures, we found copper. Copper also lot of is metal. Then what? If you have like on the iron, you can easily strike. I repeat, highest rainfall forced northeastern people to go very late for agricultural activities. Then how about North India? Yes, Compared with Northeast, North India receives less rainfall. Star mark and supply. Compared with Northeast, North India receives less rainfall. Outcome, the forests are not as dense as that of Northeastern India. So you can easily, I won't say easily, you can make efforts to clear the forest. Primitive agriculture activities, you call slash and burn, shifting, whatever you call it, right? Now, again you go towards northwestern India. The region receives very scanty rainfall. Suppose not to say desert kind of situation. Indus river ni మూసేశామా చేప పిల్లల మాదిరి కొట్టుకొని చూస్తున్నారు. Because northwestern India, today Afghanistan and Pakistan you call it, right? So receives very scanty rainfall. Because of scanty rainfall, the practice called agriculture or the profession called agriculture started in northwestern India. When? 7000 BC. Because less rainfall, no dense forests, whatever akkade rendu chetlu unte mella తీసేయొచ్చు అన్నమాట. You can go for agriculture activities. As you travel from northwest to north India, we found dense forest. From north India to northeastern, extremely dense forest. నేను ఇందాక ఒక రెండు మూడు పదాలు చెప్పాను. Masinram, Chirapunji, in world, not in India, in the world, highest rainfall receivers. Not your Amazon forest, Nanazan forest కాదు, it's an Chirapunji and Masinram. Right? Concept అర్థం చేసుకో. Right? It's all about what we call, ఒక చిన్న లైన్ రాసుకోండి. The scanty rainfall led to the people of northwestern India. The scanty rainfall led to the people of northwestern India to involve in agricultural activities. Bracket లో 7000 BC అని రాసుకో. To involve in agricultural activities, in bracket 7000 BC. Whereas the highest rainfall in northeastern region, NER, whereas the highest rainfall in northeastern region forced the people to resort agriculture very lately. For your convenience, in bracket 1000 BC. To resort agriculture very lately. Right? It's all about Paleolithic cultures